Hello, today we will learn about a mysterious disappearance that occurred on a cruise ship in the Mediterranean. A newlywed couple had planned to enjoy their honeymoon on the luxurious cruise ship. Unexpectedly, the 26-year-old groom suddenly vanished during that sweet trip. When the investigation began, many believed it was an accident, while others suspected it was a murder. So what is the truth behind this incident? Let's explore the details of the case together. The main character of our story is named Jack Smith, born in October 1978. Jack had an outgoing and humorous personality. He was very good at communicating and was loved by his friends. Jack's family lived in Greenwich, Connecticut, USA. This is one of the wealthiest towns in Connecticut, nicknamed Mansion Town due to its large number of spacious mansions. Jack's father, Tom, owned a thriving local wine shop. The family belonged to the upper class and lived a comfortable life without worrying about money. In 2002, Jack met a girl named Emily Davis. During their courtship, Jack was attracted by Emily's beauty and cheerful personality. The two quickly fell in love. After 3 years of dating, 26-year-old Jack proposed to Emily. Their grand wedding ceremony was held on June 25, 2005, at Rosecliff Castle in Newport, Rhode Island. At the wedding of the century, the couple radiated happiness. Friends and family sent their best wishes to the newlyweds. After the wedding, Jack planned to take over his father's wine shop, while Emily had just received her master's degree in education from Roger Williams University. Both were full of hope for a bright future ahead. They decided to go on a honeymoon cruise to celebrate their marriage. They were quickly attracted to a cruise line called Royal Caribbean International, founded in 1968. This is one of the largest cruise operators in the world. The company targeted the large U.S. market and moved its headquarters to Miami. Royal Caribbean offers various types of cruise ships at different levels. They are all high quality and have their own distinctive features. Jack and Emily chose the cruise ship called Brilliance of the Seas. The ship was built in 2002, is 292 meters long, 39.8 meters wide, has 13 decks, a displacement of 90,000 tons, and a maximum speed of 25 knots. The Brilliance of the Seas was built at a cost of $350 million, about $890.4 billion at current prices. It can accommodate over 2,000 passengers and 800 crew members. The ship is equipped with all kinds of entertainment facilities, such as a mini golf course, rock climbing wall, casino, dance floor, and swimming pool. It's like a mobile city on the sea. Additionally, it's specially designed with a 9-story central area surrounded by glass elevator shafts facing outward. Most public areas have beautiful views of the ocean. Their journey would depart from Barcelona, Spain, passing through France, Italy, Greece, and Turkey. The couple would have a memorable 12-day honeymoon on this luxurious Mediterranean cruise ship. However, no one could have imagined that during this honeymoon trip, the 26-year-old groom would disappear from the ship forever. So what happened that day? Why did Jack go missing? Next, we'll turn back time to June 29, 2005, to learn the details of the incident. On Wednesday, June 29, 2005, 4 days after Jack and Emily's wedding, the couple boarded a flight from Connecticut, USA to Barcelona, Spain. There, they boarded the luxury cruise ship named Brilliance of the Seas. As the ship slowly left Barcelona port, their 12-day honeymoon cruise officially began. Jack and Emily had booked cabin 9062, located on the 9th deck of the ship. Although the cabin wasn't large, it had a small balcony where they could admire the beautiful scenery of the vast sea. In the following days, the couple relaxed and enjoyed their honeymoon life on the cruise ship. They played together by the pool, savored delicious meals at restaurants, and took photos to capture memorable moments. The pictures showed they were very happy. Like many other young people, the couple's favorite spots were the bar and casino on the ship. They went there almost every day as a way to relax. When the cruise ship docked in Greece, the couple disembarked. They explored new lands for a short time and felt very excited. In the evening, they continued to go to the bar for drinks and to the casino to gamble. During their time on the cruise ship, the couple made many new friends, including Paul and Galena, another newlywed couple who had married in June of the same year, just like Jack and Emily. The two couples quickly became good friends and often participated in activities on the ship together. Time passed, and on July 4th, the sixth day of their cruise, after dinner, Jack and Emily invited Paul and Galena to join them at the casino. The two couples sat at the same table, drinking a strong liquor called absinthe. In fact, this type of alcohol was not allowed on the cruise ship, but it's unclear how they brought it on board. At the casino, they met 4 other friends Jack had made on the ship: Josh, Ethan, Zach, and Greg. All 4 were also from the U.S. After a while, Paul and Galena said goodbye to Jack and Emily. Jack played very generously at the casino. Even when he lost, he continued to withdraw money to keep playing. Because he wore an expensive Patek Philippe watch, his fellow players all thought he must be a wealthy person. The casino's surveillance cameras also captured footage of Jack withdrawing money while Emily stayed in the casino. After the casino closed at 2:30 a.m., they continued to the disco on the top deck. At 3:25 a.m., Emily felt a bit drunk and wanted to return to the room to rest. From the disco to their cabin was less than a 5-minute walk, so Emily left on her own while Jack stayed behind to continue having fun with friends. But then something unexpected happened. On July 5th, the 7th day since the cruise ship left port, at around 7:30 a.m. when the sun had just risen, a 16-year-old female passenger named Sophia stepped out onto her cabin balcony. She took out her phone to take some photos of the sunrise over the sea. Unexpectedly, she accidentally saw blood streaks sliding down the bottom of an overturned lifeboat on the side of the ship. Sophia was frightened and immediately reported it to the ship's security staff. The security staff went with her to the location where the blood was discovered on the side of the ship. It was on the lifeboats above, an area where passengers were prohibited. If standing there, one could easily fall into the sea. Sophia had discovered the blood stain on the white roof of the bottom of that lifeboat. Above the lifeboats were cabins on decks 7, 8, 9, and 10. Security staff immediately went to the cabins corresponding to the area with the blood stain. All other cabins had occupants, and no one reported being injured or missing. Only cabin 9262 on the 9th deck had no response, no matter how much they knocked, and the occupants of that cabin were none other than Jack and Emily. The distance from cabin 9062 to the rear of the lifeboat where blood was found was about 6 meters. Security staff were concerned that something might have happened in the cabin, so they used the spare key to open cabin 9062. However, there was no one in the room, and both Jack and Emily were not there. Early in the morning, where had the two of them gone? Security staff used walkie-talkies to report the situation and request support. They began searching for Jack and Emily throughout the cruise ship. Not long after, staff found Emily at the spa center. However, strangely, they searched every corner of the ship but still couldn't find Jack anywhere. So it's very likely that the blood stain on the bottom roof of that lifeboat belonged to Jack. If so, he may have fallen into the sea from that area. At that time, the cruise ship was docked at the port of Kusadasi, Turkey. The cruise ship management reported the incident to the Turkish police in the afternoon of the same day. Police boarded the cruise ship to investigate. They took blood samples from the bottom roof of the lifeboat for testing. Then they entered cabin 9262 to take photos and collect evidence. The room was a bit messy, and they found one of Jack's shoes. They also discovered 2 drops of blood on the bedsheet, each very small, only about 2 centimeters long. The test results later confirmed that the blood stain on the bottom roof of the lifeboat and on the bedsheet in the cabin both belonged to Jack. However, this evidence was still not enough for the police to determine whether he had an accident or was murdered. Therefore, a deeper investigation was conducted. The police sought out the 4 people who were last with Jack in the early hours of that morning. They were Josh Atkins, Ethan Cummings, Zach Rosenberg, and Greg Rosenberg. They stated that after the casino closed at 2:30 a.m., staff took them to the elevator and they went to the disco on the 13th floor. At 3:30 a.m., the disco also closed and everyone gradually left. By then, Jack was extremely drunk and seemed unable to return to his cabin on his own. So the 4 of them helped him back to his room together. Notably, the room keycard had a memory function that could record the exact time they entered the room. They opened the door and entered cabin 962 at 3:52 a.m. At that time, they discovered that Jennifer, Jack's wife, was not there. So Jack mumbled drunkenly, "I'll go find her." Then he changed his shirt, and the five of them went to look for Emily together. They went to the ship's sun deck, where people often gathered after the disco closed. However, they didn't find her there. At 4:01 a.m., they used the room key to open cabin 962 again. Then Jack used the bathroom in the cabin. Jack lay on the bed, and the other three took off Jack's shoes. At that time, he hugged one or two of them to show gratitude and promised to treat them to drinks the next day. The four stated, "We stayed in cabin 9062 for about 15 more minutes until about 4:15 a.m. We all left the cabin together and left Jack alone in the room. Then we went down to the cabin on the lower deck, ordered some food, and asked the staff to bring it. To the left of Jack and Emily's cabin 9062 was cabin 9060, and to the right was cabin 9064. Cabin 9060 on the left was occupied by a middle-aged couple. They reported, "At around 4 a.m. that day, we heard what sounded like several people in the room next door. We also heard someone speaking very gently and intimately, saying, 'There you go, Jack.' The occupant of cabin 9064 on the right was named Claude Hansen. He stated, 'After 4 a.m., the room next door was very noisy. There were some people shouting very loudly. At that time, my wife and I were sleeping, but the noise next door was so loud it woke us up. They seemed to be playing some kind of game, repeatedly asking someone to drink. A few minutes later, the noise from inside the room moved to the balcony. I heard 3 or 4 people arguing there, and it lasted about 2 minutes. Then the arguing stopped, and a man said, 'Good night, as if saying goodbye. Next I got up, went to the door and opened it to look at the room next door. I saw 3 people leaving the room and walking away. It was about 4:05 a.m. I continued to hear 2 people talking in the room next door for a while. After that, I heard the sound of furniture moving. I thought they were cleaning up the room after the party ended. That sound lasted about 10 minutes. At around 4:30 a.m., the sound of furniture moving continued from the balcony. I suddenly heard a loud noise, as if something heavy had fallen to the ground. The sound was loud and strong. I felt like it shook. After that, cabin staff came to check because the noise was too loud and prolonged, and many guests had complained. When they arrived, the noise had stopped, so they didn't knock on cabin 962 anymore. Based on Mr. Hansen's statement, the police speculated that 4:30 a.m. could be the time Jack fell from the balcony onto the bottom roof of the lifeboat below. It's known that the 4 people who were last with Jack claimed they had all left cabin 962 together. However, Mr. Hansen said he only saw 3 people leave cabin 962 that day. The 2 sides gave contradictory statements, so is it possible that someone left the room earlier or later? The police continued to question the 4, and they all insisted they had left the room together and could vouch for each other. Since both sides stuck to their statements, and the police had no further evidence to prove the 4 were involved in Jack's disappearance, suspicion about them was temporarily ruled out. One of the 4, Josh, told the police that on the evening of that day, Jack and his wife seemed to have had a conflict. The reason was that at the disco, Jack saw Emily seemingly flirting and dancing very intimately with a casino manager named Roy. Seeing this, Jack immediately went over and argued with Emily. She even kicked Jack in the lower abdomen and then left the dance floor. After that, the casino manager named Roy also left with Emily, and no one knew where they had gone. However, this statement was not confirmed by anyone else. Except for Josh, no one saw Emily leave with the casino manager. The cruise ship's surveillance cameras showed that at 3:25 a.m., the casino manager Roy had entered his girlfriend's room while Jack and Emily were still at the disco. The police found Josh's statement very strange. Perhaps he was trying to divert the police's attention. However, according to their accounts, Emily had not returned to the cabin after leaving the dance floor. So where had she gone? Was Jack's disappearance related to her in any way? Emily was found around 4:30 a.m. A cruise ship employee discovered Emily drunk and unconscious on the floor in the lounge area on the 9th deck. The employee helped her to a nearby chair and then went to find Jack to take her back to the room. However, they couldn't find Jack. At 4:50 a.m., 2 employees took Emily back to her cabin 9062. According to the employee's recollection, they didn't see anyone in the cabin. The curtains were closed and motionless. This detail shows that the glass balcony door had been closed at that time, because even at night when there's no wind, a huge cruise ship passing through the sea would still create wind and make the curtains flutter. After taking Emily back to the cabin, the 2 employees left. Emily said that after being helped back to the cabin by the staff, "I slept for about 3 hours. At that time, the ship had docked at the port of Kusadasi, Turkey. Some passengers had disembarked to sightsee." Emily also said, "I didn't see my husband when I woke up, and the room looked normal. I thought he might have been drunk and slept in the cabin of some friends, so I didn't think much of it. During this trip, Jack had been drunk many times, so I didn't feel too worried. After waking up, I remembered that I had scheduled a couple's massage at the spa, so I changed clothes and went there. I still thought that when Jack woke up, he would come find me." Since no further evidence was found to suggest Jack had been murdered, the captain believed that Jack might have been drunk that night, sat on the balcony railing, and then accidentally fell into the sea. That's why, even after searching every corner of the cruise ship, they couldn't find him. The captain's conclusion was agreed upon by the Turkish police. They believed it was an accident of falling into the sea. Afterwards, the cruise ship's cleaning staff entered the couple's cabin 962 and thoroughly cleaned the room. That action completely destroyed the crime scene. The cruise ship staff insisted that we had been given permission by the Turkish authorities before proceeding with the cleaning. After the incident, Emily disembarked with the Turkish police to cooperate with the investigation, while the cruise ship continued its journey as scheduled. Emily was very sad after Jack's disappearance. However, surprisingly, she quickly believed the conclusion of the Turkish police and cruise ship management about the incident. Emily accepted the conclusion that her husband had been drunk and accidentally fallen into the sea. She only stayed in Turkey for 1 day and then flew back to the US the next day. Emily's actions greatly displeased Jack's family. Jack's parents questioned Emily about why she didn't stay in Turkey to continue searching for her husband, but instead hurriedly returned to the US the next day. They felt Emily's behavior was very unusual and suspicious. They believed she had betrayed her husband, according to Josh's earlier statement that Emily had disappeared somewhere with Roy for an hour. At the same time, they were certain that Jack had not met with an accident. They believed someone had intentionally killed Jack, because if it was an accident, it couldn't explain why there was blood on the bedsheet in the cabin. Moreover, there was a witness who heard intense arguing coming from the cabin. The statements of the 4 friends who were with Jack also didn't match the description of the neighboring cabin. Jack's family felt there was something fishy about the incident. In July 2005, 24 days after Jack's mysterious disappearance on the cruise ship, the FBI announced that they were investigating the case. Although the incident occurred abroad, because Jack was a U.S. citizen and there was some evidence suggesting Jack may not have died accidentally, the FBI had stepped in to investigate. Emily and the 4 friends who had taken Jack back to his room were all U.S. citizens. Therefore, the FBI approached them. They agreed to take part in the FBI's expert psychological lie detector test. The FBI has a very scientific and rigorous lie detection testing process. Unless specially trained, ordinary people can hardly pass the test when lying. Surprisingly, all 5 people passed the FBI's lie detector test. This means they were telling the truth and not lying. Nevertheless, Emily's actions still displeased many people, because many signs suggested her husband may have been murdered, but she quickly believed her husband had an accident. In June 2006, Emily agreed to accept a $1.1 million settlement, about $24 billion at current exchange rates, from Royal Caribbean Cruise Line. The 2 sides reached an agreement, and Emily publicly declared that her husband had died in an accident. Meanwhile, Jack's family insisted that the authorities had not done their best and overlooked many details. Jack's family did not agree with the terms. They were very angry with Emily's attitude. They firmly believed that their son had not had an accident and were determined to investigate to the end. Jack's parents offered a $100,000 reward, about $2.5 billion at current prices, to find more clues. They also invited Dr. Henry Lee, a famous forensic expert from Connecticut, to participate in the investigation. After learning the details of the case, Dr. Lee also felt there were many suspicious points. He agreed to assist in investigating the case. Dr. Lee's team contacted Royal Caribbean Cruise Line. After getting approval from the cruise company, they boarded the Brilliance of the Seas to survey the scene. Dr. Lee went to cabin 9262 where Jack had stayed. After observing the environment inside the cabin, he immediately wanted to conduct a simulation experiment. He wanted to use a dummy with a weight equivalent to Jack's to perform a simulated fall experiment to demonstrate how Jack fell into the sea. However, the cruise company felt that such an experiment could negatively impact the company's image, so they rejected Dr. Lee's request. After the incident, the cruise ship staff had thoroughly cleaned the cabin and related areas, completely destroying the crime scene. Therefore, although Dr. Lee had come to survey the site, it was too late. He could not find any additional valuable clues at the scene. After the incident, some television programs also interviewed Emily. They pointed out many suspicious points in Jack's disappearance. However, Emily still insisted that her husband's death was an accident. Although Jack's family was very dissatisfied with this, they could not do anything else. In October 2009, 4 years after Jack's disappearance, Emily began a new life. She found a new boyfriend who was a financial advisor. They quickly married and had 2 daughters. The mysterious disappearance of Jack on the cruise ship made people doubt the safety on cruise ships. Under the impact of this incident, in 2013, a U.S. senator proposed the Cruise Passenger Protection Act. This act maximally protects the rights of passengers on cruise ships and enhances transparency in handling cases that occur on cruise ships. As time passed, Jack's family said they would never stop investigating the case. They believe that one day the truth will be revealed. Unfortunately, to this day, the case is still under investigation without results. Jack's group of friends who had fallen under suspicion were wiretapped for 6 months, but the police could not find evidence to charge them. In 2019, one of Jack's 4 friends went to prison and revealed that Jack's death may have been a murder. The police suspected that he had been killed to cover up something, but they had no evidence. So did Jack accidentally fall into the sea? Or did someone intentionally harm him? Perhaps the truth, like Jack, will forever remain deep at the bottom of the ocean. What do you think about these observations? Please leave your comments below. Today's video ends here, and I'll see you in the next videos. Goodbye.